Hello my Beatles friends, welcome back to another video. This video I'm gonna be talking about Beatles Christmas Flexies. Today is 20th of December. In 5 days we have Christmas and everybody's buying surprises and gifts and preparing for the holidays. And also Beatles gave us every year, they gave us a special message in the form of 7 little Flexies. So I'm gonna be showing you in this video all those Flexies, original issues from the 1963 till 1969. And I'm gonna be comparing it side by side with the 2017 reissue. I will be telling you all the details about those Flexies, who participated, and then I'm gonna be talking about some bootlegs, and I'm going to be talking about some other countries' issues. So let's dive in. Every Christmas from 1963 till 1969, the Beatles official fan club members were receiving per post, free of charge, 7-inch Flexies with a newsletter and containing skits and individual messages and short renditions of different songs. 1963, we have this Flexi. Sincere good wishes for Christmas and the New Year from the Beatles. Recorded 17 October 1963, released 6th of December 1963. Written and produced by Tony Barrow. Recorded at Abbey Road Studios. This one is one-sided, 33 1/3, and out of all the 7, this is the only one that has the gatefold cover, and the newsletter is printed inside the gatefold. Pre-orders were unexpectedly high, and this Flexi was made something around 30,000, more than 30,000 pieces. And just because they couldn't make it on time, some members of the fan club received their copy in the early 1964, January, February 1964, and some of them even received the Flexi without the cover in order to save time. Also, they received a letter of apology for sending the Flexi late. The back cover has 2 pictures. One picture is, the bottom one, is the famous picture. The Beatles are presented to the Queen Mother at their Royal Variety performance, Monday, 4th of November, Prince of Wales Theatre. And the second picture, the Beatles at the national headquarters of the official fan club with joint secretaries Bettina Rose right and Anne Collingham left. We'll be talking about the personnel and people involved in the next chapter, after I show you all 7. The first Christmas message consists of personal messages and funny renditions of several carols. Very interesting listen, to be honest. Flexi number 2, which is called Another Christmas Beatles Record. Recorded on 26th of October 1964, released on 18th of December 1964. Once again, it's written and produced by Tony Barrow, recorded at Abbey Road Studios, the same session when they recorded Honey Don't for the Beatles For Sale album. This Flexi, the second one of 1964, is the only out of 7 that plays with a speed of 45 RPM. The rest are 33 1/3. By December 64, the fan club members almost doubled, so has the demand. So they released at least 65,000 of these Flexies. And once again, it was sent out with this newsletter and those cool, beautiful pictures. It consists of a rendition of Jingle Bells, individual messages from each one of them, and rendition of "And the ending jingle, Can You Wash Your Father's Shirt?" What's interesting with the second one is that Beatles are actually making fun of the fact that the entire script was scripted for them and written. And even John saying at page 1, page 2, and McCartney even answers that it's also very funny and interesting to listen, because I think they could have written their own. But just like the first one, it was written and produced by Tony Barrow. In America, in 1963, there was no Flexi issued, but in 1964 they actually issued the 1963 Flexi, which was slightly edited. Christmas Flexi number 3. It's called the Beatles' third Christmas record. Recorded 8th of November 1965, released on 17th of December 1965, recorded on the same session as the song Think for Yourself for the Rubber Soul album. Written by Tony Barrow and the Beatles this time. Produced by Tony Barrow once again. Recorded at Abbey Road Studios. And this one is also, just like the first one, one-sided, 33 1/3 RPM. This one contains several renditions of Yesterday, Happy Christmas to your listeners, Old Land Sign, The Four Tops is the same old song, and Christmas comes but once a year. I actually tried to find all the original songs. I mean, not yesterday. All the original songs that which they actually sing in this issue, and actually I have to admit that I found several songs and I really like them. Nice songs. The USA fans did not receive any Flexi this time. They received a postcard. Flexi number 4. It's called Pantomime, Everywhere It's Christmas. Recorded 25th of November 1966, released 16th of December 1966, written by the Beatles entirely. Produced by George Martin, and it was recorded at Dick James' studio in the basement. Once again, one-sided, 33 RPM with insert, and this one features the cover made by Paul McCartney. It contains a Monty Python-like record, or closer to Goon Show, with amongst other things Everywhere It's Christmas, Orowania, Please Don't Bring Your Bongo Bag, Pudgy and the Bear, and Jasper Visit Felpin Mansions. I have to admit that I wasn't familiar with those carols, with those names, with those songs before I studied the information for this video, and I listened to those Flexes once again. Now, when you know the originals, it actually is even more fun to listen to. Once again, the American fans did not receive the Flexi, they received a postcard. Flexi number 5. It's called Christmas Time is Here Again. This is the only Flexi that actually consists complete original Beatles song. That song, Christmas Time is Here Again, was also featured in the Anthology project. Recorded November 28, 1967, released December 15th, 1967, written by the Beatles, produced by George Martin, recorded at Abbey Road Studios, one-sided, 33 RPM plus insert with a newsletter. What's notable about this one is that, unfortunately, this is the last Christmas message that was recorded by the Beatles while being in the same room. The next 2 messages were recorded separately in various locations and then assembled together. In 1967, this is the last one when Beatles were together in the studio. Cover designed by John Lennon, Julian Lennon, and Ringo Starr. It includes the rocking Christmas Time is Here Again, plenty of jam jars, performed by fictional band The Revelers, and finally John's poem When Christmas Time is Over. Once again, USA fans received a postcard. I mean, USA fans were unlucky. Flexi number 6. I have to say that Flexi number 6 and 7 are very unique ones. Why? Because these two, the last 2 Christmas messages, they are double-sided, 33 RPM. They do not have a white label glued on the Flexi. The message, the text on the label was printed using white ink directly on the Flexi. So these two kind of stand out. It's called the Beatles 1968 Christmas record. Recorded November-December 1968. It wasn't recorded in one day because the Beatles were not together in the same studio. It was recorded in different dates in different locations. It was released on 20th of December 1968. Written by the Beatles, produced by Kenny Everett. It consists of separately taped pieces by each of the Beatles, and on the 1968 disc, George introduced Teeny Tim singing a bizarre little version of Nowhere Man. A collage of sounds and fab greetings, including Happy Christmas, Happy New Year, Jones' poem, Jock and Yono, and Once Upon a Pool Table. The USA fans received the Flexi, but the different cover. It was a modified 1967 cover. At least Americans got at least something. Flexi number 7 and the last one. It's called the Beatles' 7th Christmas record. Once again, recorded November-December 1969, released 19th of December 1969, where various locations. Written by the Beatles, of course. Produced by Kenny Everett, but this time is under his real name, which is Maurice Cole. Now, there are two versions of the 7th UK single. The sampler version and the later version. The sampler version, you actually can read the text on the Flexi, but it was not used the white ink. It was used just a stamper, so you have to look at the light to see the text. But the next one was printed with the white ink, and due to an error, it was sent out not in December. It was sent out on 26th of January 1970 with the apology letter. The cover was designed by Richard Starkey and Zach Starkey. Those Flexis were officially released, re-released in the box set only in 2017. That's how the box set looks like. This is the booklet, and this is the back side of the box. And all the newsletters and all the covers that I showed you, they are concentrated here in this booklet. The originals are very fragile and very thin, so they made it in one booklet, which is cool. But it's not complete. Another reissues. In 1970 and 1971, UK and US released all those songs together on one single album. The American album looks like this. I've spoken about this album many times on my channel. If you want to see that video, the link will be in the description section below or up here. Also, I have already shown you all these Flexis and all these singles in the Beatles catalog books, and the link to that video will be also in the description section below. This is the back, and like I said, it's easy to mix this one with the counterfeit. All you have to do is just look at the label and locate the ring. If the ring is wide, it's fake. If the ring is smaller, then it's original. The UK version of this album is called From Then to You. It features the cover of the first Flexi on the front cover, and all the other covers are in black and white on the rear side. Unfortunately, I do not have this LP, but this is how it looks like. Also, there are 3 additional issues of those songs, but these are unofficial. Well, not really a counterfeit. It's correct to say that are unofficial, but still nice to have. This is the 1963 and 1964 issue. These are picture discs. And this is the back. Then we have 1965 and 1966 together. This is 1967 and 1968 all together. And unfortunately 1969 was not released. These 3 bizarre issues were released in 1988. Now, let's talk about the personnel who was involved, other than Beatles and Dick James and George Martin. I mentioned several names. I mentioned Tony Barrow. Who is Tony Barrow? Tony Barrow was an English press officer who worked with the Beatles between 62 and 68. He is the one who came up with the term the Fab Four. So, if you ever wondered why the Beatles are called Fab Four, thanks to Tony Barrow. He's the one who invented this phrase. And what's important to notice, Tony Barrow, he's the one who created the idea of making Christmas records for the Beatles. That's why he's the writer and producer and co-producer of the first three. Kenny Everett, real name Maurice James Christopher Cole, was an English radio DJ and television comedian known for his zany comedic style. He was involved in producing the last two messages, 68 and 69, and in the last one he is credited to his real name, Maurice Cole. Kenny Everett is his pseudonym. Now, this is not the end of the story with the pseudonyms. Now here comes the very interesting story that actually people who are familiar with the Beatles monthly book might know about, but it's very interesting. In the beginning, I mentioned two names, two girls that were pictured with the Beatles on the first Flexi. Here, on the back, we go back to this picture, and it says here, the official fan club with joint secretaries, Bettina Rose and Anne Collingham. And if you look at the newsletters and all the 7 issues, you will actually see that they are signed by these two girls. Now we ask a question, who are they? Are they really these girls that you see on the picture? And the question is no. Those names are made up pseudonyms just to deceive the fans, to ease the blow. These are not real names, and the people with those names never existed. If you look at this picture, it says Paul, John, George and Ringo pose with Anne Collingham and Bettina Rose during a visit to the London headquarters of their fan club. That was the original caption that was written under this picture. But in reality, what you see on this picture, there are the Beatles photographed with Val Sumpter and Maureen Donaldson. Those are girls who worked in the fan club, among many other personnel. But Anne Collingham and Bettina Rose, these are not real people. And Tony Barrow confessed that in 1983, one of the monthly books. That's a very interesting information. And here comes the most interesting item. This is a Christmas record. And the only country that you least expect to release a Christmas record is actually Israel. And this Flexi, the one and only Flexi released in Israel in 1968, I believe, is the most expensive Christmas Flexi in the world. It's more expensive than all the 7 originals together. And this is how it looks like. It resembles the cover of the White Album. That's how we know that it was released in 1968. Okay? So, these are the 2 items that are missing in my collection. The Israeli Flexi and the UK vinyl, which is called From Then to You. Actually, I could buy it in the Omega auctions like 2 years ago, but it was something around 700 euros, so I skipped it. Thank you very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video and you learned something new. And if we don't see each other in this year anymore, I wish you all Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And I wish you all the best, peace and love in the next year. Thank you very much for watching and see you. Bye-bye. Hi, darling. I'm finished.